The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Well, welcome to Chic, Chattin with Jocelyn. And again, I'm not Jocelyn, but I am substituting for her. I'm Karen Testerman, and I'm so honored today to have with me my guest, Michael Thornton. And Michael is from Milford, and we've been crossing our paths over the years in various different places, whether it's in preparation, being prepared as citizens for any possible natural disaster that might occur, to just coming across him because he ran for state rep and plans to do so again. And he's also has this wonderful position in Milford of being the keeper of the graves. So Soon. Oh, okay. He's running for it. I'm sorry. But at any rate, welcome to Chic Chattin.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. So you've been doing some investigation, let's put it this way, something that we in New Hampshire are very fortunate that we have this law called 91A that allows us to petition our government officials, our elected officials, anytime we are looking for information and we can't find it, or that they seem to be cloistering very carefully, that we can actually submit this 91A and ask them for the documents. And it always helps to know exactly what document you're looking for, because they're very clever that if you leave out an of or a the, that they can't find that document. So at any rate, so tell us a little bit about what you've been investigating and why.
Thank you, Karen. A little bit of an involved citizen, been on the zoning adjustment board for 10 years and on a few committees in town. And the instant case is because was privileged to sit on the town budget advisory committee as well as the school budget advisory committee. The case today is about experience on the town budget advisory committee. Background, ham radio operator, and experience with radios in the Marine Corps, in Vietnam, in the Air Force, in the Space Shuttle program. So I know a little bit. And this whole thing is not about me or my or I. And the only time those words will come up is, I made a mistake. And this is all, this investigation is all, I made a mistake, and now I'm trying to rectify it.
So tell us about your mistake.
Well, the town of Milford has currently a warrant article 24, and it'll be on the ballot this year, and it says, shall the town sign a 10-year lease on the Crown Castle Tower at Dram Cup Hill? Well, arguably that's likely a good solution for part of our problem. The only difficulty is, after a great deal of research under right to know request, and yes, I have asked for information, and to my chagrin, because I messed up, you only get what you ask for, and if there is a small mistake on your part, or you haven't asked for enough, you don't get the whole picture. When the information was received, tried to digest 10 years of work in the last week and a half. That's difficult. So a lot of sleepless nights.
I was going to just say, it's a lot of sleepless nights, right?
And what comes out is, first off, this is an emergency responders communication network. Our emergency responders in Milford has helped our family 4 times over the 23 years we've been in town. I was in an automobile accident. They came and got me. Thank you. The VA had difficulty understanding that an Agent Orange veteran is presumptive for ischemic heart failure. Therefore, they were dismissing the symptoms. The Milford ambulance had to come get me twice. Do I care for them? Yes. So this is not about me. They need those resources. We have a moral responsibility and obligation to deliver it. We also have a financial obligation to protect our own interests from, it would be litigation for failing to provide for the safety of our employees. So I'm here to present 2 issues. One is the tower, 10-year lease. Currently, using ARPA money, they have signed a 1-year lease. But
So before you go on, what's ARPA?
okay, ARPA is the American Recovery It's part of the whole package the administration has put together to help America recover from the dramatic effects of COVID on our economy and the people. So the town is using some of that money to sign a lease on a tower, which is a good idea, to test. But you're trying to solve a problem which has never been adequately defined with a definition that a citizen could ask for. Therefore, we're told, well, a radio doesn't work here. Where's here? We can't tell you. Was the radio taken back to the shop and validated with a known good battery in full state of charge, the proper antenna, and a trained operator, and gone back, and it still won't work? No, we don't have time for that.
What?
Yeah, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you don't have a validated point of failure. Not to say it doesn't exist, it just hasn't been validated. And you haven't been able to say, this is our problem. This is what we're trying to solve. Therefore, you can't put together a requirement and say, please give me a proposal against this requirement. And once you've done that, you should have a way called a test and evaluation program to know what you're paying for solves your problem.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that would be responsible governing, correct?
Well,
yeah. So
if it were my money, yes. Yeah. Wait a minute, it is my money.
it is your money, right?
But it's all of our money.
Well, it's taxpayer dollars, and the use of taxpayer dollars has been, we've assumed so many times that those people who are in elected positions are doing the right thing. But what we've forgotten about is that when we don't keep an eye on things, that other interests are there and can sway either with finances, power, whatever it might be, to our elected officials to do something that isn't the logical thing. So a lot of times we look at a problem and somebody comes up with an answer, and instead of doing a real analysis of it to make sure that this is the right answer, and even considering the unintended consequences of what we're going to enact, doesn't always rise to the occasion, which is unfortunate.
That's it. If you don't know what you're trying to buy precisely,
right?
How do you know if that's what you got? And want these people who are putting their lives at risk
Right.
to have not what they think they want, what they absolutely must have. And it's to our best interest.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if we go there the right way, and in this case, the instant case, the tower, the proposition bringing forward today that we already have that ARPA money with a 1-year lease and put it up. And now let's take a test plan and test it. And if you like the taste of steak, buy the 10 cows. And if you don't, if it doesn't solve most of your problems, then you don't have 10-year lease signed.
So you're saying that on this Warren article that's being presented, that they're trying to buy the whole package and commit us to a long-term solution rather than taking the 1 year that they've already signed and making sure that it works first. So we want the residents, or not the residents, the citizens who are the voting citizens of Milford, and I've got to be real careful on that because it's in so much muddy water right now. Who is really allowed to vote?
Yes.
But we want those people who are legal citizens to vote in Milford and to be informed on what their choice is. And you're saying that here's a situation where we could continue with the 1 and make sure that it's what we need before we sign on for the 10.
Correct.
Good.
The fact of the matter is that the citizens must be consulted and approve any long-term contract like this.
Right.
It's the RSAs, the laws of New Hampshire. Unfortunately, there was a contract for 10 years signed for this very tower last year. And yes, and it did not have a clause saying if the voters don't approve, it's null and void. Read it many times.
Wow.
Could still have missed it. That would be my fault. And we are working to the same goal, but when you see things like that, you begin to lose confidence in the folks' transparency in giving you the information you need to make an informed decision in an appropriate amount of time.
Right. Well, and this is something that happens. We've seen it at the federal level as well as at the local level, where someone is actually getting a benefit, a personal benefit, by pushing something through without the cautious caveats that we need to have in place. And so, we need to raise the red flag when something like that goes. And
that's true, but fortunately, in this case, the number of people and the notes are voluminous. Most of it is electronic. This is nothing, but the people with whom I was privileged to speak, and the people are so amazing. The Board of Governors for the town, the representative to the board of MAC Base, that's the Milford Area Communications Center. Mm-hmm. And it's a conglomerate of 4 towns, Milford, Wilton, and Mount Vernon, with Lineborough as a customer. Now, the director of that center has been lauded in the 3 reports that address the problems, and his deep passion. He's been there since 1998. Mm-hmm. He's been director since 2011. He is leaving to be a police officer in Mount Vernon because it's an arduous position. When he's not given the resources he needs to do his job, and the system is contentious. The agreement that binds them, the intermunicipal agreement, shortly IMA, was supposed to expire 2018, and then there was a 2-year extension, and we're on another 2-year extension. That brings up a problem, and that is a different issue. But if you go back to the jerking myself back
Right.
to the emergency services, when you hear the fire chief and the Board of Governors representative, who is an experienced street officer, he is the patrol captain. When you hear not only his words, but on the third time through, began to hear the emotion in his voice when you play it over and over and over again. His people are at risk.
Oh, definitely. And you know, so I sat on the city council in Franklin, and it's one of the things that I encourage every citizen to go out and, if you can, schedule a ride-along with your fire and your police, because we have no idea some of the things that they encounter and the situations that they encounter. We think that things are orderly, that when you go into a house that it's probably clean and various things. Oh my gosh, the wake-up call that you have when you see what they encounter, and many of them suffer from post-traumatic stress simply because of what they see. Not only when they go into people's homes, but when there's an accident and some of the horrific situations that they come across. It's a tremendous emotional as well as a psychological challenge to them. And then you have what we've got going on now nationwide in our vilification of our first responders. And my goodness, no wonder we're having difficulty finding people to fulfill those positions, because they do want to come in, but they don't want to be subjugated not only to the dangers that are out there on the just out of normal circumstances, but they don't want to be vilified by their own people, the people in the backyard.
Let's think of it in D's. They're dishonored, they're disfunded, and they're disrespected. And when you put that together, is it any wonder that they want to walk away?
Right.
I mean, they want to serve or they wouldn't be there.
Right. And they care. They care passionately. So what was the second part of what you've been challenged?
Well, there is a procurement for the mainly police department right now for communications equipment and services.
Right.
Now, that's being addressed as a sole source contract. Specifically asked for the justification, specifically asked the Board of Selectmen in public meeting, please show me the test and evaluation plan, please show the requirements package, please help us understand so that we can get behind it on an informed basis.
Right.
And build a collaboration between voter and public servant. And they have not yet. As a matter of fact, one of the selectmen said, "Are we going to answer him?" And the response was from an individual, we'll get back to you. No one has yet gotten back. Have a right to know request, partially satisfied. It took time. It took an iteration or two, but the information that was asked for was delivered. Nowhere in that was specifically requested was, what is our requirements package? Where is our statement of work?
Right.
What I got was a proposal from a vendor, sole source vendor. In the Air Force, sole source contracts sort of went away because they took too long, went over budget, and you didn't know what you were going to get. Mm-hmm. A better way is a blind bid, sealed bid, which is evaluated for responsiveness. Will this meet our requirement?
Yeah, but you can't ask for that if you don't have the requirements.
That's it. So you're just saying, well, give us some money, we'll do this, and we'll see if it gets us better.
That sounds like the Nancy Pelosi, pass it before, and then we'll tell you what's in it, right?
No,
Before
we
you
have to
even read
pass it before we know what's in it. Yes.
Right.
And many years later, we're still finding out. Our emergency responders deserve better from us.
Exactly.
And we deserve better knowledge to protect them, because this is not the first slice of this pie for Milford. 2 years ago, I might be off on the warrant article number, but I believe 2 years ago we had warrant article 3, and then last year warrant article 4, and now it's warrant article 25. They're slightly different in flavor. Milford was going to go alone, and we're going to own everything and sell services to surrounding towns if they wished. It's mixing things up a little bit, because this package is supposed to be Milford alone in our own equipment, and it is only for our police, and it's uncertain if firefighters are directly involved in this, but it said emergency services, so I have to leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I don't know, period. What is clear is that people have been addressing this problem since 1985. It is not solved. All 3 reports say that people have not been cooperative, not played nice in this small sandbox. So 2 of the original 6 members, Amherst and Brookline, left. Now, this is MAC base. It offers services, dispatch and everything. The tower has to communicate with MAC base, talk back and forth, and then they together can cover our town with communications for these police officers and firefighters and EMTs in the ambulance.
So what is the action item for our listeners?
Well, the action item would be informed. Here it is. Let's go. Let's look on the town website, milford.nh.gov, ask for the information, dig a little bit, look for the documents, look for why should I vote for this, look for this will solve the problem because we're going to do a test. And then we won't have to piecemeal it continually year after year, because we really have to protect our people. We have to do it soon.
Right. And this is not only a protection of the communities involved, but this is also a protection of those who are serving those communities.
That's what I'm
involved.
addressing,
And,
exactly.
And your concern is making sure that the emergency responders, whether it's police, fire, or ambulance, that they are appropriately protected so that they can do the job that they need to do.
Personal belief.
Right.
That they care more about a person they're trying to help when they reach over and go, respond to another unit, and they get no answer.
Right.
It's also an issue of if they're hurt and need assistance, that we owe that to them. They're putting themselves at risk for us.
Right. And Jocelyn certainly can testify to that, because she was out on a call in Mount Vernon and became the victim. Rather than assisting the victim, she became the victim, and still to this day suffers with many of the residual injuries that she's had to deal with simply because of one night. And that was several years ago. I think it's like we're working on 8 to 10 years ago. But and you know, this is a statistic that not many people know, that 50% of our emergency responders, and sometimes even in the emergency rooms at the hospitals, become the victim. And they need to be protected. They need to have good, solid support, and the requirements that they need to be specific and to be addressed specifically by any contractor that's coming in. And the sole source thing is a pet peeve of mine at this point, because we have so many no bid type things. And why aren't we out there competitively having these bids taken care of?
The concerning thing is, if you go sole source and another contractor could provide and wants the business, they can file a grievance. They can contest the contract. That stretches out the period. It leaves the emergency responders at risk longer.
And it costs the community as well. So taxpayers are paying it again. So it's cost. You know, it's cause for efficiency, and you have a fiduciary responsibility sitting on the different budget committees to make sure that the money is being spent properly. So where can people find out more information?
Milford.nh.gov. All of the town officials are responsive. The police department, fire department, ambulance director, and Department of Public Works director are public officials and available. They have testified before the various committees, and they do a good, honorable job. They need our support.
So, Mike, can people contact you as well?
Please.
And where would that be?
Mike at MikeLT.org.
Mike at MikeLT.org.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
Good. Well, thank you so much, Mike Thornton, for joining me, Karen Testerman, on Chic, Chattin with Jocelyn, who isn't here today. But anyway, we love her and enjoy having the time when she's not here to be a co-host. So have a great day.
Thank you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.